Hi guys, welcome to the Music B&B. I'm 315, and today I'm joined by it's TGYE, isn't it?
Yeah.
TGYE, that's it. We're joined by TGYE. Would you like to tell everyone what that stands for?
TGYE stands for Thank God You Exist.
What was the inspiration for the name?
I don't know. Have you ever heard of the artist Beam?
No, I haven't. No. Beam.
Okay. So Beam is an American artist. He's nationally Jamaican, I believe, and his name stands for Be Everything and More. And he's kind of like one of my favorite artists.
Right.
So I got like the whole acronym to do like just TGYE because my name originally is TGYE, and I wanted to do something kind of fancy and kind of like I wanted it to mean something. So I took the I out my name
Yeah.
and just decided to do TGYE and like, Tajai, thank God you exist. And yeah,
That's quite close to your original name then as well. So must have thought a while on that one. That's pretty good. Would you be able to give us a bit of background about yourself and how you got into music? I know we can sort of see it on your website, so make sure to check out its website as well. But give us a bit of background.
Yeah, man. So I've been doing music for 10 years now. I'm 24. I started when I was 14 in high school. I kind of grew up around music. My dad, he was a producer and he played around with records and stuff like that. And I was raised around like other like upcoming artists, kind of underground upcoming artists as well. Like my house would take us to the studios and stuff like that. In terms of music,
you say your dad did a sort of home setup kind of thing for you at one point? I think on your website it said that, didn't it?
Yeah. A lot of he had the whole like mic set up, the computer, the back then it was records, right? Like early 2000s type time. So records, DJ set, and I just was raised around it. So it's like I kind of just grew into. I feel like in a way it was kind of destined. You know what I mean? Like it was meant to do something within music, whether it be recording or producing or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I'd say like my life was kind of the exact opposite. I didn't really have many like musical like inspiration growing up. So to me, it was kind of like, I'm going to do this because nobody else is doing it. Whereas on your end, it's kind of like you're growing up around, you're surrounded by it, really. So it's kind of like inevitable that that would be the thing that you would do. I quite like that. I read on your website as well. Did you start by doing recordings just using an iPhone 4, was it?
Yeah, yeah.
How did that go?
The first, like the first song that I recorded, it was called like, I think Calling or I Got It or something like that. And this is when I was just staying in this place called Winston-Salem, this city in North Carolina. And I didn't have anything to record with. All I had was an iPhone. And, I just used the voice memo, right? And recorded, had like the beat in my headphones, recorded it like that. And then I sent it to my bro. He would mix it up for me and like do his best that he could and then just go from there.
Nice. That's pretty cool. I did it. I heard there's one band from Australia, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. They recorded the whole album just using their phones. So there was like 7 of them. So they mic'd up a whole drum set, like just putting different phones on each part of the drum set, and they've managed to record a whole album that way. I love things like that when people are just using things like they shouldn't be using to record with. So eventually, did you get like more gear to record with, things like that?
Yeah, ended up, of course, saving money and buying my own equipment and stuff like that. Yeah.
Brilliant. Fantastic. So you've recently, when did you release this album?
August, I think it was August 16th.
Okay, so like really recent, isn't it? So you recently released an album. It's called Mellochromatic. I've had a really good listen to it a few times now as well. Could you give us a bit of background for this album? What was the inspiration? Things like that.
So the inspiration, so they have difficulty explaining this to people, but I have like this thing called chrome synesthesia, right? And so like sounds give me like a certain color image, right? Ooh. And so like I've before the album, I've been explaining that to like my friends and my family and whatnot, and they were just like, you should take people into like what it's like kind of being synesthetic, and there's many genres of what it is to be synesthetic, but it's not like anything that's a delay in the mind. It's just sometimes certain colors or feelings can give you certain emotions and stuff like that, right? And so I think I just wanted this album, or this, let's say this EP, to be something where I can bring people into my world and kind of allow them to truly feel what it's like to, I guess, feel what it's like to really feel,
Right.
emotions, sound, and I'm sure you can tell just by how it sounds. It's pretty wicked, I think. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I got a sort of a big picture. It's very sort of distorted. It's like a wall of sort of sound. I'm in my reaction, which I'm going to link down below, is I describe a sort of like distorted hip hop in a way.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me. It was almost this sort of like wall of sound, but it felt so like fresh and unique. And it's very different in terms of production to a lot of sort of your modern day music that you hear.
Mhm.
But I always like that when there's something that doesn't really sound like that anything else, So yeah, distorted hip hop was what I called it. It's interesting what you're saying about like colors and things like that for your inspiration. So if I said like red, would that invoke any feeling of anything
Uh,
like that? Does it work that way?
I mean, yeah, I would. Yeah, red. Like when you said red, I just thought of a hi hat. You know what I mean? Like a, you know what I'm saying? Like kind
Right.
of like
So the colors invoke different sounds. Right. Okay.
exactly.
That's really interesting and a really interesting way to work. I'd love to try it myself. It's like just try and picture colors and see what instruments I find. I imagine
Yeah.
I'd probably fail with that. But who do you think would be interested in this album? Who do you think it would be for?
I think honestly, if like people, I think it would be for people that truly like want to hear something different.
Hmm.
I think it would be for people, even the drug heads that want to be taken to another world. Like if you want to listen to that, do that.
Yeah.
I think it would be for people that just want a new experience. You know what I mean? Like people that want something that is elevating and just feel good and
Yeah.
not alone.
It's definitely like a new experience. It's different to anything I've heard. I keep on feeling myself kind of being drawn back to it because I just think I want to hear that sound again. I want to understand that sound again. I want to be, like a part of that. And it, in a way, from a producer's kind of point of view, like how do I create that? And if I had to, if you like, you ever had the time to show everyone like the nitty gritty of whatever you're doing in your door, I'd love to see that because it is so different. But again, it still punches through like the hi hats and the bass drum, the 808s that you got going on. They're still hitting
Mm-hmm.
hard within this sort of cacophony of sound behind it. I think I know the answer to this anyway, but what's your favorite song off the EP and why?
My favorite song, honestly, would either be. Can I do like my top three?
Yeah, sure. There's six, isn't there? So out of the
Yeah,
six.
right. So just have the whole EP. I think my first one is probably going to be Purgatory, right?
Really? Okay.
Yeah, just because it's wild and it's all over the place and just kind of explains me as a
Hmm.
person. Um, my
I
second,
found yeah, just quickly talk about poetry. Like it's a
yeah, go ahead.
bold choice to start a project off with a song that is it's almost like a 6 minutes of epic,
Yeah,
thinking on the lines of like Bohemian Rhapsody, so kind of that long, but it starts at first when I first heard it, it starts quite ambient where you got like water sounds and other things going on. At first I thought,
yeah.
is this going to be like some sort of experimental ambient EP? And then it
Mhm.
changes it kicks in. But yeah, so that's your favorite. Very interesting.
Yeah. And then my second favorite is probably Self Destruction, of
Mm.
course. And then Going Up is probably my third favorite. I don't know. Sometimes my brain changes, and I depends on my mood, really.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the mood. Yeah, I would put self-destruct up there definitely with I think that's the one you kind of first showed me, wasn't it? That self-destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Yeah.
I think you can kind of hear that is a sort of standout kind of single with a hook. You know, it's catchy, isn't it? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, self-destruction. Yeah, that was nice. So I've got other questions here, but I might edit out if we're kind of getting like similar answers. So what first got you into music? Can you remember the first turning point, or was it always, I think you kind of said it's always been there, haven't you?
It has always been there, but I didn't start recording until high school. Like two of my friends were like in a group and they were making music as a group. And I became cool with them in like freshman year of high school. And then I kind of was just like, yo, I want to start recording. I want to start writing, man. Add me in the group. You know what I mean? They were just like, okay, well, shoot, just go ahead and start writing. And I just did it.
Do you find the recording side of things more interesting than maybe the performing side of things?
That's a very great question. That's a very great question.
Like for me, I've always preferred making the songs and recording them.
Yeah.
And never having to like perform them, you know?
I say I agree. I think making it is the best part because it's starting the process, right? Like you're beginning something new.
Yeah.
I think the most beautiful part about it, of course, when you perform, you're engaging with people and you see people how they react. It's fulfilling in some type of way. But I believe that recording is a little bit more it's a little bit more in depth in terms of what's going on within the mentality.
Yeah. I mean, they are two different worlds, aren't they? Performing and recording.
Right.
And you know, you can do as much like recording and like putting it online as you want and getting, you know, social approval back online, but it's nothing compared to like the actual like instant hit where there's people like nodding their heads to, you know, your music and things like that. You said that the recording process is your favorite. What is your creative process like? How do you get started? Is there a certain way or is it always different?
Dude, it's always different with me because like I go off of how I feel completely. So like sometimes I might even take a month or two or even 3 just not recording music, right? And then like I'll just get back into it based off how I feel. Sometimes I'll force myself to do it and just go. And it really depends. Like I said, it's really just how I feel, and I just go with the flow. And then again, I just that whole EP was freestyled. I just freestyled and just went off of how I felt. And
wow.
Yeah, the process is different.
Yeah, I do like those projects where it's kind of you just do what comes to your head the first thing. They can be so like freeing up in a way, can't they? But I'm the same. Like I have spells where I'll go a year without doing anything, and then I'll have a year where I do like 5 albums in a row or something. You know, it can be so different, can't it? So if you could give people a reason to listen to your music, what would you say makes it unique from others, makes it stand out?
Just completely, you know, like, dude, I personally feel like, and this is me talking to myself as well. Like, I feel like the world needs change in terms of our this moment that we're at, this stagnant moment that we're at. I feel like it would be pretty cool to be in a world where like we're allowed to express ourselves through music and still be understood and not be judged for, you know, being different. Like it's accepted. It's actually cool to be different. You know what I mean? And that's that's like the I guess the highest standard that I feel like everybody should have. Like it's cool to be different. It's dope to speak your emotions. It's dope to express yourself. It's dope to communicate. It's dope to just be you and like flaunting who you want to be. Like I think that's what it's about. Just of course you can get hurt, you can have fun and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, talking about drugs and sex and all that stuff, like it's cool, but let's do something different. Let's elevate ourselves in terms
Been
of
done a
how.
million times over, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Let's be
that.
Star Wars out here. You know
I think you're right. Like it has been stagnant for a while. You hear any popular music and it's the same. It's the same level of production. It's the same. I think we're starting to see a turning point. you're starting to see kids that are starting to enjoy like music from like Stranger Things, for example. You know, they're back into Metallica. They're not into the generic sounds we're hearing anymore. And different can be jarring at first, but I think that's what I liked about your project. I was jarred, and then I was like, right, okay, let's persevere, let's keep going. A second time, third, I'm wanting to come back to it. So that's important. I think I said at the end of my reaction, like, this is kind of like, this could be like the start of going somewhere. Personally, I think there are things that you could still work on, but it's going somewhere that I haven't heard before. And I wasn't sure if there are other artists out there. Maybe I'm not too into like all the subgenres of hip hop, so I don't know how many other artists are doing similar sounds to you. I don't know if you could elaborate on that for me at all.
I mean, I would say if I could compare myself to anybody, it'd probably be more like Kanye West, Travis Scott, again, Beam, Vori, Baby Keem, even. Yeah, I will say I do have one song that I'm not like proud of, but at the same time I'm proud of, because in terms of sound I'm proud of, but in terms of like what it was, it's just like a song called "Okay," and I was just like, if people can do this, then I can do it too. So that's pretty much why I made that song. But yeah, it's probably a few artists that I can say are around my sound of music for sure.
But then at the end of the day, they're not your sound as well,
right?
Which is a good thing, because even I struggle sometimes to not sound like something. I'll make something and go, I just sound like this artist. I just sound, and you tell yourself up, stop trying to sound like this artist, you know. So that's nice, and it's good to be like that, because there are so many artists that sound like other artists. So yeah. Well done. So how do you feel the internet has impacted your approach to being an artist?
I mean, like Twitter and stuff like that, you know, like seeing a whole bunch of BS on Twitter, and like, you already know how that goes.
Yeah.
Just kind of, like I said, just wanting to change the world. But let me not say change the world, but just be part of the change where I can shift at least something different within society, right? It's also influenced kind of like me wanting to be like this alien kind of robotic kind of artist as well, in terms of my brand.
I think I got that from the album cover. It's kind of, it reminded me a little of like will.i.am kind of, or even like I think I said, if you've ever played Star Fox, like the boss from Star Fox is just like a floating head. I was like, it just reminds me of that.
yeah, man. It's like, it's pretty. I don't know, man. I find like AI and robots and all that stuff pretty cool. I've just been interested since I was a kid. I've been into this whole the Chrome world and cyberpunk and stuff like this since I was young. It's always been.
So if you like that, I've recently released an album that was entirely made by AI. So I've done a lyric AI generator, melody generator, and just put it all together. I sang it, but other than that, everything was kind of created by AI. So if that's a project you're interested in, that's something you could try and explore in your next project if you want. But I found that really fun.
Yeah, I'm sending it to me, man. We gotta stay connected, because that's definitely what I'm into, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So we're about to wrap things up, I feel. What is next for you?
It's a good question. So I definitely got. I think I'm working on a few music videos. Dude, I don't know. I think I want to do an album. I want to work on an album. If I don't drop any singles, then I'm probably gonna go ahead and just start working on an album, and that'll probably be next year, summertime, springtime.
Yeah, but no promises.
No promises.
No, you don't want to force yourself into that corner and then feel like you got to do it, because then you might make something you're not too happy with, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I mean, if you're thinking forward, that's good too. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, man, I don't know. I just go with the flow, and I just create. That's all it's about. Create. As long as I'm being myself as I create, that's all I care about. And yeah, so I never know.
Fantastic. Well, everything about the artist is linked down below. Thank God you exist. All these links are down below in the description, so do make sure to check him out, because he's incredible. He's amazing. Thank you. All right, goodbye, I guess.